We gotta just chill out, man.
Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curtain Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night, a little bit after 9 p.m. Where else would you rather be after a Ravens week? And with me, as always, except when he's not, is my big brother, Rich. Rich, I've been waiting a long time for it. How's it going tonight?
Okay, I'm going to try this right now. I just ended up with a microphone issue.
I can hear you. You sound like you're in a tin can, but I can hear you for now.
I will have to go away and fix this, but first we need to breathe in the sweet smell of Steeler victory, which I got to do from just outside of Pittsburgh the other day.
That's right. We can breathe it in. It feels so great. Go ahead, try to take care of your mic.
I'm going to mute myself as I get this fixed.
All right, let's see if we can get that going. So, man, I tell you what, I know there's some people, I mean, it was a pretty bad low for the Steelers this time last week. It was bad. We know what went on at the stadium. We know what was going on with all the talking points that we're bringing up with everything going around, this, that, and the other stuff. And a win doesn't make it all go away. It doesn't cure everything, but it does make it a little bit better for the time being. And you are never going to apologize or feel bad about a win over the Ravens. Am I right?
Especially going to their house and doing it.
You sound great now. There you go. Yes, go. Yeah, not just winning in Baltimore. In Baltimore. So that now makes the Steelers 9-3 against the Ravens in the last 12 games. That includes the playoff loss in there as well. It's even better if you just look regular season. So I know some people are like, oh, the Ravens, I can't believe how many people say, well, these teams generally split their matchup. So you would assume that the home team is going to win this one. I'm like, they're not paying attention. They split last year and they split one other time in there in the last 5 years. That was it. Other than that, it's been Steelers.
Yeah.
But here's another thing about this game. I mean, it was interesting because it was a very weird post-game show because there was a definite misbalance, or I guess I should say unbalance, in the live chat of people that were like, it's a win. Why are we not excited? And people were like, this doesn't change anything, So you had both. And honestly, both are true if you think about
Correct.
it.
Yes.
And that's the balance that you're trying to bring. And I had a point before this, and now I can't remember what it was. Okay, here's what it is. Okay, go ahead.
Let me go ahead and grab mine then, okay? This might not, for some people, it maybe didn't change anything. But what this past Sunday could be is the start of a change.
Yes. This is either going to be, and this is kind of what we're talking about. The title of the show today, will the Steelers stay aggressive? I didn't know if aggressive was the best term to do it. Bottom line is, it's easy to get up to play the Baltimore Ravens if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's easy to be focused in practice. It's easy to come up with a great scheme and a different scheme if you're a coach. For everybody involved, when it's the Ravens, it's just something different about it. But now you can't let it be just about the Ravens. It was great last week to be just about the Ravens. But now you have to take that beyond the Ravens. So will the Steelers stay aggressive? Will they stay up? Will they practice well this week and everything? Because you heard so much about how well they practiced last week. That's what this is. This is either going to be the beginning of something that the Steelers are on the brink of doing this season, or it's going to be that was just a flash in the pan. Yeah. It's going to be one of the two.
Right. Was this for real or was it a blip?
Yeah. What was this? Yeah. What was it a blip? Was it even,
And it could be either. Yeah. Because the Steelers came off a couple of pretty bad looking games.
Yeah.
No one can say that with this game they righted the ship.
No, but here's the thing about that. Well, first of all, I want to answer a question before it gets gone too far, and I still got to get back to my other point I was going to make. It says, did Asante Samuel even play? Didn't notice him at all. According to the snap counts I saw from Pro Football Focus, he played 1 snap on defense, but he didn't have to. And you're going up against a run-heavy team where you're not playing a lot of Trust me, I don't think the Steelers ever were in dime. I don't think they were ever.
No.
I mean, it might have been some dime alignment, perhaps. I can't tell you that for sure. I'd have to ask KT Smith that one. But
I don't think they personnel-wise went to their dime personnel.
Yes. I mean, they all, I mean, it was just base personnel or nickel personnel. Now, but like I said, you move the different people around in there. And when I say personnel, I don't even mean the name on the back of the jersey. I mean the 2 or 3 letters that go in front of the number where they're listed on the website, meaning position, not even people within that, because that's what they do. They were trying, between Jabril Peppers and Chuck Clark, trying to get them out there. They were both playing safety, and it wasn't like you were adding another safety. You were just trying to change up who was at safety at things. I think people understand what we're talking about there. So,
yeah,
this wasn't going to be a big
went
game unless someone got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know that we ever went to 6 defensive backs, which would be your dime package.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much stuck most of the game in 4 or 5. So,
yeah,
which is your base and nickel. So,
yeah. So it was interesting. Now, the thing I wanted to bring up was this. Here's what's insane to me. Okay. Because the Steelers were playing the Ravens in Baltimore is what led to a lot of this, I'm sure. But do you realize this past game on Sunday was the game where the Steelers were the biggest underdog of the whole season?
Really?
Yes.
What
if you look at the point spread,
into the game as?
Well, it started 6.5. It was down to 5.5. I saw it as 6 Saturday night. According to Pro Football Reference, that freezes it at game time and says what it is, they had it at 5.5. The Steelers were 5.5-point underdogs, and that was the biggest margin of the season. They were 3-point underdogs at home to Buffalo, at home to Indy, at home to Green Bay. So what's funny is all those other games, the 3 next closest ones, were all home games where they were underdogs. Okay.
I understand why it was, because you look at what the Steelers have done the previous couple weeks, and I'm not surprised it was there. I would have definitely taken that bet, but if I were a betting man.
I'm mad. I swore that I threw $1 on the Steelers on the money line, and here I checked my thing, and here I didn't. But just because when you get like a plus 200 something, I'd take that every time. Sure. So that's the thing. It was, even though I kept saying the Ravens aren't playing all that well, Vegas and the national media and a lot of people still really believe in them. Hey, they had that 5-game win streak, even though, like I said, they really only had one impressive win in there. But it is a week-to-week league because, I mean, there's times where teams that look like they're great end up not being great. Like I've mentioned it before, that win against Minnesota doesn't seem nearly as impressive now as it did back then.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. The Colts win at the end of the season is not going to look as impressive now. I mean, granted, they could still maybe make something happen, but, your top 2 quarterbacks are down. You're pulling a guy in from the street that was a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame, which all he's got to do is be active for 1 game, and that starts over. He hasn't played in 5 years. So they're in trouble. But at the same time, here's one that blows your mind, that the Pittsburgh Steelers were 1.5 favorites in New England.
Yeah, and that's the one that's going to look like a huge win later.
Yeah. They were 1.5 favorites and won by 7 points in New England. And you're like, oh, yeah. I mean, if that game was played now, that would be the Steelers' biggest underdog of the season, because they haven't lost since they played the Steelers, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, they haven't lost since then. And I mean, there's a lot of these teams that have some big games coming up, so that should be interesting. But let's get back and talk about. I mean, you got to win against the Ravens. We both live in Maryland. I obviously live much closer to Baltimore than you do, but it's really nice. After the game, I'll tell this story. After the game, after the post-game show, I was working on getting the game ball article ready, and then I had to worry about dinner. So I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to do? I'm like, I don't feel like cooking. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm like, I'm going to AC&T to get some great fried chicken. I don't know if they have those around other places, but where I live, that it's known as great fried chicken. And I go there, and as I'm going in, I open up the door to let someone in their Ravens jersey out of the AC&T. And she just looks at me, and I just look at her, and she just shakes her head, and she's like, that game. I'm like, I know. It was a good one. It's always hard fought between them. I was very nice and courteous. I wasn't rubbing it in, but she just kind of looked at me and just shook her head like, oh, So that's how life is in this area for myself and Jeff and Brian when the Steelers beat the Ravens.
Well, this will be fun.
Okay.
Kyle's not here to hear this, but he'll love that I did this. So we're sitting, myself and Kyle and Renee, we're sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings in Ross Township.
Yes.
And the game's going on, and Kyle is constantly on his phone, messaging back and forth with a buddy of his that's a Ravens fan. I actually told Kyle what would be funny, because the end of the game hit, and shout out to Justin. Justin went silent. Just, Kyle made some comments, nothing. I told Kyle, I said, I said, what would be funny is call one of my buddies or somebody who works in the sheriff's department and ask them on Monday morning if they go over to the local barbecue place to check on the grill supervisor. The grill supervisor, I think is his name, is his position, and make sure that he was all right, because we were concerned because we hadn't heard from him since the Ravens lost.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I'm also not going to apologize for the win. I know there's so much stuff going out there, and we're going to get, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into that now. Well, first, let me say this. There's not really any big news going on with the Steelers. Didn't have any roster changes or anything. The biggest news was just injury update from Coach Tomlin. It was still a Tomlin Tuesday, even though it's a Monday Night Football game. It was still a Tomlin Tuesday. And he didn't even mention two people. He didn't mention Derek Harmon, and he didn't mention DK Metcalf. So they were asked about in the Q&A part. But you've got three guys in the protocol. The protocol is the protocol.
Yep.
And they have an extra day to work through it. I would say Washington and Pete have a chance to come through it. I would be shocked if Malik Harrison does.
Because he looked to be
unconscious.
He looked to be the what I want to say, the wooziest coming off the field.
Yeah, and he was ruled out immediately. Yeah. Where the other two were questionable and then out. So that's the only reason I'm judging it off of that. But no two concussions are the same. For all you know, it could be Harrison and the other two guys don't make it. You just don't know.
People's bodies deal with that very differently. You see some guys that have a concussion and they're right back playing the next week. And other guys, 2 weeks later, they're still not playing.
Yeah. There's guys that go on IR for a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
There really is there's no set one size fits all rule and everything for concussions, unlike how there is for a catch in the NFL, which we'll get to soon. Let's see, there were some bumps and bruises, guys, like Skoranek, who's been dealing with some stuff and then added a finger during the game, a calf for James Pierre, apparently. Who's the other one? Oh, Benton with his ankle early in the game, came back in and played.
Yep.
Patrick Queen gutting it out with his hip. Glute.
Not a hip.
Everyone says, yeah, the glute. His bruised butt. No, I don't know.
He's got a bruised butt.
But with DK Metcalf, Coach Tomlin didn't go too much into it when they asked, what happened. He even talked about taking Pepto-Bismol on the sideline, and he got hit in the stomach. It sounds to me like he was too close to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
If you know the whole infamous Lamar Jackson cramps. I'm like, yeah, he had cramps. They were in his intestines, but he had cramps a few years ago. That it could have been that kind of situation. And bottom line is they were worried that it could be something more. I mean, and I'm not saying it's just honestly, it could have even been appendix, something like that they're worried about, that it wasn't. Yeah.
If you don't have to get on a plane and travel like that, then no.
Yeah. Take
the extra several hours, make sure everything is good, and then hop a plane and get back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And so that's him. The biggest news, Derek Harmon, the way he was listed was he'll likely be limited early in the week. But that means he's got a chance to play. The only one ruled out so far is Calvin Anderson with his knee. We don't know how bad that was last week. It wasn't bad enough that they put him on IR. That's one thing. But and then Kyle Duggar has a chance to work his way back with his hand injury. So that's some good news. The numbers are stifling when it comes to Derek Harmon.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
I mean, some of it's the opponent, some of it's circumstances, but it can't just be all that and nothing to do with him. It really does.
Correct.
So to me, I'm like, even if Harmon doesn't play this week, if he's on the path to get back, that's a good thing for me.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. So,
hey, I have a quick question to ask you then about the Skoranek in his finger. Okay. So what did you think then about DK telling him to stay on the sidelines and took his spot on that one punt?
And drew a hold.
And drew a holding penalty.
Yeah. Well, and my thing is, I just like how on TV.
You want to talk about something that to me will go a long way with guys in that locker room. DK Metcalf just did that. He's the guy that just got paid and told his teammate that was dealing with an injury, "Go get your hand checked out. I got you."
Yeah, and because they just said DK Metcalf was just a monster this past week, like in practice and everything. So no wonder they were looking to him early and often. Someone else brought this up. It was a while ago, and I hope that I can get to it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, someone said as a non-Marylander they'd never heard of AT&T. It's actually a gas station, but they have like a deli thing there with phenomenal fried chicken. If you're ever on the crossroads of 70 and 81, you got AT&Ts all over the place. Let's see. Where was it? I'm trying to find it. It was about Rodgers. I can't find it. I lost it. I'm so sorry. I was trying to do it. So maybe I missed it here. But what it was, I thought it was
still
here.
Looking.
Here it is. I found it. Rick 74. Was it just me, or did Rodgers look in more control in that game than most of the season? I mean, a couple of times where he made the different calls, usually successful audibles. Not only did he look in control. Now, sometimes I was getting frustrated with how much the clock was running down. I mean, so much so it killed a drive.
Yes, it
when
did.
that killed a drive. They had that. Oh, that was a beautiful play call. You could see how good that was going to work. And then, but we'll get into what they did after that, which is something that you're a little bit frustrated with, I know. But making the calls, trusting his receivers to be where they were supposed to be.
Receivers being where they were supposed to be.
Not being antsy in the pocket. I mean, there was a couple of times he got balls batted because there were players that were open that he was trying to get the ball to, even though it was tough and he couldn't get it through the line. I said in the postgame show, because it was Nick Faribault that said the one that Rodgers ended up catching instead of the interception, that it was. He said it was going to be a nice gain to an open DK Metcalf. Then he had to go back and say, "Hey, I watched the tape. It wasn't Metcalf. I'm not used to having other big receivers out there that I confused with Metcalf. It was actually Thielen."
Yeah.
that it would have been a nice look to Thielen he was looking for there when he got batted back. Honestly, he had Kenny G for the touchdown. And they're like, oh, but it was a bad throw. The throw was offline. No, the throw got hit. So the Ravens did a nice job of getting their hands on the ball a couple times. So, kudos to them. But, man, because you look at that was a 4-point batted ball because that was going to be a touchdown to Kev Gainwell. Unless he drops it or something like that I wouldn't expect him to do. So this game was interesting. What do you want to clear off the board first to talk about, to say, hey, can we just talk about this and be done with it?
Yeah, somebody brought it up in there. Let's go ahead and talk about the touchdown that wasn't for the Ravens.
Okay. In case you all have not seen it, it's further down because it came out last evening. I'm so tired, and I'm really, really mad at X/Twitter. It used to be, before I had to update the app when things were down one time this summer, that when I brought up my phone, it automatically went to my Steelers list, and I didn't have to see all this other junk. Now it comes up that the other junk shows up. I have to click on something specifically to go to my Steelers list and not get ads or anything else and have everything right in the timeline and all that. So I'm always going to see a thing or two before I click over to that. And my goodness, to see some of the stuff, to hear some of the stuff where people had clips, because I don't watch these shows anyway, about what people were saying about that. Okay. So I just had enough. So I'm like, you know what? People don't understand the rule.
No, they
don't understand the rule. So I wrote the article to explain the rule. It's there at steelcurtainnetwork.com. Go check it out. Tons of comments, like a lot of discussion. There's someone in there that's driving me nuts about something, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I did it just because I'm like, you know what? And when people drive me nuts, I'm just going to comment and say, okay, go read this. And I've had some other people do that too. That's like, I'm just going to pass this on every time. They're like, and then I've seen them respond to other people and say, yeah, this is why you're wrong, everything. All right. It's one thing if you don't like the rule. This was something I was talking back and forth with Tim Benz, who I communicate with he's part of FFSN. So I communicate with him and know him otherwise, but I was doing it some on the Twixter. And it was the whole idea of that being a touchdown. It's one thing if you don't like the rule, you have every right to not like that rule. I am fine with people not liking the catch rule for the NFL. I will tell you this. I don't know any way to tweak it to make it better. And people that don't like the rule, they still don't have an answer to say what would make it better. So they've tweaked it to have some things that people thought should have been catches that weren't to now be catches, or things that were catches that shouldn't have, they're trying to tweak it to find the right tipping point one way or the other. So I did that to lay out the rule, and there's just so many people just flat up saying stuff that's not the rule. Well, it's different in the end zone. No, it's not. It is not different in the end zone. Oh, well, it would if they were on the sideline and it was a no.
No.
The same rule governs every reception or interception in the NFL. Same rule. Doesn't matter where it was. The fact that it was in the end zone did not matter. Okay? The rule. It is 3 parts. 1, you must control the football. 2, you must have both feet in bounds. 3, once A and B are complete, and that's important to say because it says that. Once A and B are complete, there must be, and people want to use the term football move. That's more vague than what the rule even says. The rule says an act common to the game. And then gives examples. Okay? That could be another step. Okay? That could be.
And here's the one that's irritating me. People are saying, oh, now you got to get 3 feet down to. No. The third step can be out of bounds.
Yes.
You just have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kathy, I see what you said because I'm going to bring it up because that's the one that really, 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 really ticks me off about how stupid people are being about this. Okay,
Yeah.
they don't understand a difference between a verb and a participle. That's the problem. It's a grammar issue. And I said that in my article. If you want to go see the article, it's not in the top 5 anymore because it was just afternoon. But all you have to do is scroll just a little bit, and it's a picture of Wang Harbs whining to a ref, which if you're ever on a Ravens website, that would probably be about the picture to every article. But it's Wang Harbs whining to a ref. That's the picture. Go check it out. Okay. So they list things. They say an additional step. Okay. Extending the ball, tucking the ball, going to the ground.
Right. Falling down.
Yes. Any other body part other, I even this, a hand does not count as a foot. And see, and they don't go through and spell all these out in the rule because you can't write it all down, but they have seminars and they explain this stuff in depth to the officials, to the replay people. You have team representatives there. Heck, when I was a freshman high school coach, I had to go to a summer seminar where every official in the county was there and every coach was supposed to be there, and they laid out the rules for an hour and a half. So much more than what's written down. So the people that are making this call understand so much more. That's why they asked Coach Tama, do you know what a catch is? Yes. Yeah, because if you've had all these things. A hand does not count as a foot, but I bet you anything a hand touching the ground after 2 feet down would be considered a move common to the game.
Yes, it would.
An act common to the game. So in this case, you have to look at what the player is doing to then define what the next act would be. Okay? So if he's not tucking the ball, he's not turning upfield, he's not going to the ground, he's not ducking, he's not, covering the ball, he's not extending.
Correct. You can't be extending if you were already extended.
He caught the ball and already had it extended. So no, some people are like, it's an extension. No, some people are caught up on the word forward there, extending it forward. Forward there, I think, is relative to the runner. I don't think that it has to be more towards the end line. To me, it's relative to the runner. The position of the ball and the position of the body of the player, they did not change in distance. You can bring it in, you can move it out. So the thing is, that's the difference between extending the ball and moving with the ball extended.
Now,
in that case, the word extended is an adjective. It is a participle describing moving, where the other one, extending, is actually a verb for the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if Isaiah Likely catches that ball in the same exact way.
Sorry, Steeler Freak says that you got to take your notebooks out.
Okay, if he catches the ball out like he did there with his arms extended, but he catches it at the half-yard line, and all he does is this to try to break the plane.
Yeah, move it towards the goal line.
That's the football move.
That's a third move.
Yes, it is.
That's a third move.
Now, however, had it then been knocked out before it crossed the plane, would have been a fumble.
No, what's that? Yeah.
Had he been making that move and it hit out before it crossed the plane, it would have been a fumble.
Because in my article, what I explained was if you moved everything 5 yards out, meaning instead of 2 yards into the end zone, you were 3 yards out of it, Steeler fans would be losing their mind that it wasn't a catch and then a fumble, while Ravens fans would be arguing their butts off that it wasn't a catch. Seriously, because you're wanting it to be what you want it to be. But honestly, and here's another thing, because Kathy said it and I wanted to bring it up. She said something, it was Mike Florio. She said, according to Florio, extending was a football move. No, he didn't extend it. He was already extended. And it says, not only that, it has to be after A and B.
A and B were done.
Even if the ball was, if you're watching me online, even if his arms were 3/4 extended and he extended them fully before he stepped down for step number 2, that doesn't make the move because it didn't happen after. And when you know the rule and you understand the rule, that replay was expedited, was it? Because
Yes.
we never heard from the official, but I never saw him go over to the hood.
No, he didn't.
He just came out and announced it. It was an expedited review because it was clear and obvious. And that's the other thing Floria was saying. That's not, why was it overturned? I have people in our comments saying, but it wasn't clear and obvious. I'm like, no. Just because you don't think the rule is clear and obvious does not mean that the play was not clear and obvious.
Yeah.
You might not think that the explanation of what the rule is clear and obvious to you, but to the people that are making the call, they have to determine what's happening. 1 foot, the other foot, can't say 2 feet, it's got to be the other one. We learned that with George Pickens last year.
Yep.
1 foot, the other foot, any football move. That's what they're looking for. And they're like, okay, football move. Does he extend? No, nope. Does he go to the ground? No, nope. Oh, but he's running. So guess what? His once his next foot hits, that fulfills it. You're looking for the next thing to check off the list of a bunch of things it could be. Any one of them he does, you check it off, and it's good.
Yeah.
And the only one that he had, he was.
Believe it or not,
yeah.
Dave, if when he catches that ball and the second foot goes down, if he takes the one hand off the ball and starts to raise it,
that's it.
To celebrate,
yeah,
the touchdown, it's done.
Here's one that I'm going to throw out there that I'm going to tell you. They don't say the rule book, but I'm just saying what I think it would be because they, like I said, they explain this better. If he had the ball extended, and if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can maybe see it, and he just turns the ball 90 degrees in the same spot, they probably give it to him.
Probably give it to him. See, the other thing that's in that rule that you got to make sure people understand too is, or after you make that catch, because everybody says, well, gee whiz, what if the guy's just standing still and it just sits there? It also says, or ample time that one of those moves could have been made.
Okay, I'm going to explain that in a second after I say outside Steeler fan said, nah, I would have blamed the receiver for not securing it. You are correct, sir. You are very correct. Okay, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our break, and when I come back, I'm going to explain what that ample time thing means because it's for a specific scenario that some people don't always think of that actually typically that happens more in the end zone than anywhere else. Yep. So I'll explain that. And we'll break down anything else from this game. Then, of course, we got to be on to Miami. So if you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us on the audio, we'll be right back after these messages. We got to relax. Don't worry. You wonder why? Because there's nothing that's going to change the fact that the Steelers defeated the Ravens 27-22 in Week 14 of the 2025 NFL season. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. All right. So we're talking about the touchdown that wasn't, and the last part of that where Rich. I'm trying to remember that. Do you remember better how it's phrased about the time? I can't hear you. I don't know if it's you or me. There you are.
Okay. Me. I think it says, or ample time that one of those moves could be made. Somewhere along that line. So, in other words, what it is, and I hope Steelers Freak's not talking to me, says all lawyers should be banned for this big sports fan. They ruin it all. I hope you're not saying that to us because we are far from lawyers. That is, what if they aren't doing anything? What if they did none of those things? Well, like an example of that is, imagine if a player is standing towards the back of the end zone and just kind of stops and freezes to kind of become a little bit invisible. Right. Know? And then also catches the ball with both feet on the ground. Right.
Yeah. Both feet on the ground, doesn't lift his foot.
Catches the ball, doesn't move, freezes.
Just freezes.
Yep. To sell it to the ref, here are my feet, inbounds, this is a touchdown.
I'm not moving them because I want you to see that I'm good. Kathy brought it up. That's what he meant. Florio's the lawyer. That's right. So that's what brings that up. And you've seen that before. Or what if if you're on the ground and catch it? Now, to me, being on the ground, you got a lot of body parts there, this, that, the other stuff. So that could have been other way. But to me, it's standing, catching, not moving. The official's like, you know what? They had enough time to move the ball, to take a step, to do that, and then someone rips the ball out. No, you can't. You can't wait 5 seconds to do that. So the timing issue has nothing to do with this play that happened with the Steelers, because one of those other moves was naturally forthcoming in a natural amount of time. He was on the run. I've got someone in the comment section in my article that's arguing that if it's an act common to the game, his argument was, well, running's an act common to the game. He was running. He did that. I'm like, well, first of all, the NFL, in their rules, they don't define it, running. They define it of, 1 foot, 2 foot, both
Each
feet,
foot.
things of those nature. They break it down into steps.
They don't,
even if they don't use the word steps.
And they don't define speed.
Yes, they don't define speed. And the other thing that I said is like, oh, well, technically he would have had to start running when the ball was snapped. So technically the beginning of that act had already happened before A or B. So that doesn't count. Because his argument at first was, well, he was in the process of stepping. He started to step. So that should be the third thing. I'm like, you do realize technically the third step started before the second step occurred, because his first foot that was down was off the ground before the second one hit. A step is the foot in contact with the ground. Everything that give me one example of the NFL using something where a step or whatever is not a foot on the ground. So yeah. Then you got some really, really crazy comparisons too. People tried to do the side-by-side with the Roman Wilson catch against the Packers. Dude had maybe 5 steps, but definitely 100% 4. And you're trying to argue that someone where the ball was knocked out before 3 was the same thing?
Yeah, it's just, right. I don't understand those folks. I saw a couple of those as well trying to make that comparison, and I'm like, honestly, what they've done with making that comparison is when you put those two things side by side, they technically prove the NFL's rule.
Yes, they proved the rule. This is a catch. This is a ruled touchdown. This is not a catch. It was overturned. And it was, live, it was close. Because and it's funny because the same person who was arguing in the comments was like, oh, well, they broke it down. And it was only 3 frames from where the ball moved to his foot hit down. Like, that was a long time. I'm like, that's 3 times more than what you need. You only need 1 frame of the ball being out before his foot hits down. And you're saying 3, you're actually saying that happened way early if you're going frame by frame. Honestly, I explained this there, when it happened live in the game, I said, oh, that's close. They're going to have to look at that.
That's exactly what I thought.
Oh, one play, and I said, nope, no catch.
I would have not looking at it in slow-mo. I knew that they would have to look at it. And if they would have, and just in real time, if they would have confirmed it a touchdown, I would have,
Yeah.
But then once you slow it down, it's like, no, they're not going to be able to.
Well, and my thing is, by the rule, that's not a touchdown. And I'm like, but at the same time, I put this in the article too. I don't trust the replay officials in New York to actually do the right thing. I trust them more to make the game more competitive. But honestly, that game was going to be just as competitive if the Ravens scored a touchdown there versus if they didn't score a touchdown there. It was still going to come down to it. So they could actually make the right call and not just, think about it. How many questionable calls go to replay and benefit a team that's down multiple scores trying to get back in it? It happens a lot. Yep. When you look at it. So that's just me. That's just the way I look at it. But I'll even say this. If I was umpiring, when I was umpiring softball, if there was a bang bang play at first base and one team's getting killed by 15 runs, guess who's getting that call? the team that's down a bunch.
Yep.
If I don't know which way to go with it, honestly. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's just human nature. So, but there was legit people trying to say, well, then this proves that the touchdown at the end of Super Bowl 43 wasn't a catch. Where did Holmes lose the ball?
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't. That's the key. He never lost the ball. So that's people.
The people that are doing, Dave. The people that said that are the ones that are saying his 2 feet were down, and when he took another step, it was out of bounds. So it's out of bounds, and that doesn't matter where that third step is.
The third step of that does not have to be in bounds. Nothing about that has to be in the field of play. You have to have two. You have to have both feet down. I keep saying 2 feet. I got to remember George Pickens. Both feet down in the field of play. The third aspect of the catch does not have to be in bounds. The third step can come down out of bounds. Going to the ground can happen out of bounds. Think about that, because if not, then Calvin Austin's was a catch because he did the two things, because if not, or every toe tap where you get both feet down and go out of bounds isn't a catch because the third thing didn't happen in the field of play. That's not the rule. Okay. Then you get people that are like, how come you have this big checklist of everything you have to do catching the ball in the end zone? But whenever the runner's running at it, all they have to do is get the tip of the ball to the line, and it's a touchdown, and everything stops.
It's one word.
One word.
Possession.
Possession. There's a difference between gaining possession in the end zone and having possession going into the end zone. That's the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of arguments going on there with that. It's just, it really comes down to being able to see which people really can, even if they don't know the rule, can go and read and understand what the rule is saying.
Learn what it's supposed to be, not what you want it to say. Okay, like Kyle says here, there's no need to entertain such silly thoughts from sheep on the internet. There are people who will grape no matter what. You are correct. You are correct. So that was one of them. I mean, to hear, I think there was someone on I can't even remember who it was, but it was on First Take saying, "Oh, that was a touchdown. He had 2 feet down with possession of the ball." That's not the rule. I understand if you want that to be the rule.
Yes, but it's not the rule. Yes.
And for people that saying that it's not clear and obvious, I'm like, based on what the rule is, it was clear and obvious that did not fit the rule. So now, then you had the Calvin Austin catch. Yeah, I get those. To me, I think the Zay Flowers that challenge there was them doing what they were supposed to do with replay, and that is, if you can't tell, you have to stick with the call in the field.
Yes.
And notice they didn't confirm it. It just stood.
Yes.
So that's what happened.
Ruling on the field stood.
Yes. And it's funny because the same person that was arguing about the running was a thing was saying about the problem is you're not supposed to overturn it unless it's clear and obvious. I'm like, well, there's two problems with that. One, this was clear and obvious. As long as you understand the rule was clear, it was clear and obvious. That's why it was expedited. No catch. The other thing is, I don't like that standard for instant replay anymore, especially on touchdowns and turnovers. Do you want to know why? I'm going to give you I put this deal.
I don't remember.
I'm going to give you the example. You ready?
Okay.
Here's why. Officials are now told to when if it's close, make the call that would get the play instantly reviewed.
Yeah.
As soon as you told officials that, you can't do the clear and obvious thing anymore. And here's why. Now, they try to say they do, but here's why you shouldn't. Here's why. That official thinks there's some play, it's a fumble. The official believes the runner was down by contact, but knows it was close. So they let the play out. They're going to call it a fumble, and then they're going to review it. They go to the camera angles. And guess what? The replay official says, wow, it really looks like his knee is down, but I can't see it. Oh, let me look over here. I can't see if the ball's out. I'll try to piece the two together. You can't get a clear thing from the two piece together. I think he was down, but I can't prove it with the video. So guess what they have to do? The replay official doesn't think it's a fumble, but has to say it's upheld. The original official didn't think it was a fumble, but called it a fumble to get it reviewed. Now it's standing on the field as a fumble when neither one of them thought that's what it really was. That's a problem.
And that has happened from time to time.
Yes. And that's why I don't like that when it comes to touchdowns and when it's an automatic review, I don't like it being the clear and obvious standard. I think it should be what you see because officials are told to call it that way to make it go to an automatic review. And if not, you could deal with other stuff. I mean, trust me. And that's when you talk to the official who made the call. Say, I thought he was down, but we called it that way so you could review it. Oh, well, I think he's down, but I can't tell for sure. You know what? We're going with that he was down. That's the right call. It's better to have the right call than to do that other stuff. But if you're going to follow the rules, technically, that would then that situation's a fumble, and that does bother me. Okay, we spent a lot of time on this. So there was that one. There was what was the other call that
the Rodgers catching his own pass.
Oh, the Rodgers catch. Yeah, and that all comes down to 1 knee equals 2 feet.
Yep.
And they said Rodgers. If they both grab the ball simultaneously, it belongs to Rodgers. It says it right in the same rule that I quoted, that it would go to the offensive team. 1. 2, Rodgers grabbed the ball first, and the other guy ripped it away from him. But before he could rip it away, Rodgers was on both knees on the ground.
And touched.
Yeah.
And being touched.
Yes.
You have to add
so
that part to it.
That's what that goes. Now, when it comes to where the league apologized for the call on the unnecessary roughness on the field goal, there was 2 things about that. Okay. 1, okay, the Steelers got screwed by Joe Dedney in his acting job. Christian Kuntz, the Oscar goes too.
Yep.
Okay. He's when he got hit that hard, he flopped.
Yep.
He sold it. So good for him.
And if you
look at that,
the refs bought it.
If you look at that at real speed, did the guy hit the guard first? Yeah, I don't know if but he cross-bodied into Kuntz, which technically isn't a foul, but because you did it and hit him with so much of your body at real speed, it looked like one. So slow down. It was it was a bad call, but it was just one of those.
Yeah,
things.
But also
I'd have been mad if that went against the Steelers. So yeah,
it looked like, and I hope the league keeps an eye on it. Okay, if you look there, the guy make sure he makes contact with the guard, but then immediately goes hard at the center.
Yeah.
Like
that's kind
it's
of
almost it's almost like he was trying to sell. Oh, look, I hit this other guy first.
Yes. And Kuntz is like, you're going to sell that? I'm going to sell this. You hit me hard. I'm going to fall down. You know what I'm saying? It's not, let's just say this. There was no reason for him to do what he did that drew the penalty, even though it was borderline and probably shouldn't be a penalty. But you didn't need to do what you did. Yeah. So, but the even better answer that I've heard a lot of Ravens fans say, and I respect the ones that say this, you know what? You got a problem with that call? How about not give them an easy walk into the end zone right after that?
Yeah.
Like stand up and play defense. You don't like that call? Don't make it worth 4 points.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing we've been saying in the previous couple of weeks about the Steelers defense.
Yeah, that's the thing. And same thing.
Don't give up the touchdown. Give up the field goal.
So you could complain about the Zay Flowers call. Maybe you could have seen something that you couldn't have. But you know what the Steelers did there? They didn't let them turn that into 7. It sucks it was even 3, but they didn't let them turn it into 7. So kudos to them for that. All right, now we can get into any other nitpicky things from this game. I know as we're like 50 minutes into it, but that's a lot of stuff to go. Will the Steelers stay aggressive? Were you happy with the let's just say the mentality or the drive of the players on the field that you saw?
Yes, I was okay. the argument, we could talk about things in the fourth quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's think about it. The fourth quarter, the offense had 3 and outs.
Yes.
Now, there were a couple things in there that helped lead to those 3 and outs.
Yes.
And that's the stuff I want to see. Let's clean up the stuff so that we don't put ourselves. I kept talking about in the knee-jerk reaction article, the Steelers would put themselves behind the sticks.
Yes.
Don't have those things happen that put you behind the sticks. Rodgers, don't have that pass deflected and you catch it and lose 9 yards.
Yes. Well, and here's what I would say. Just because we can explain it doesn't mean that we excuse it.
Correct.
That's what people need to realize. Oh, you're just excusing. No. Just because you can explain what happened doesn't. Here, let's look at the first drive. First drive of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
3rd and 6. They had that swing pass out there with receivers out there blocking. Gainwell wasn't going to get 6. He was going to get at least 16. That was a nice play for that distance because of where the defense was.
Yes.
As soon as the delay of game, and you could say, well, the Ravens didn't really go because of the delay of game. Like, you could say that, but I mean, you could just see that you
could see by their alignment they weren't going to be able to defend
the
that.
Numbers were there for the Steelers. The scheme was right. As soon as it went to 3rd and 11, I'm like, I said it on this one, and I said on the 3rd and 19 to my wife who's watching. Oh, they can get. I'm like, they're not going to. It's the fourth quarter. They're not going to try.
You're not going to. It's a risk reward based on your down and distance.
And I'm not saying they're right for doing that,
no.
But I'm just saying they're not going to push it. Now, if they'd have ran a play and Aaron Rodgers would have had a guy 15 yards downfield, he'd have thrown it to him. But the Ravens were sitting on those kind of things, and what was open, what wasn't 15 yards downfield. That's why 3rd and 11 is so different than 3rd and 6. Because 3rd and 6, you have the confidence to throw that ball that's behind the line of scrimmage, but can actually get the yardage to do it, to make it worthwhile. So that one they at least sent guys deep enough, and they weren't there. So that's what happened there. So that killed that drive. The next drive on 2nd down was the Aaron Rodgers attempted pass to Adam Thielen that would have probably maybe even put the Steelers in field goal range. But instead it gets batted back at him. 4th reception of Aaron Rodgers' career. Every single one of them was for negative yardage. He now has 4 receptions for minus 20 yards for his career. And that sent him back 9 yards. And when I said that, when I said to my wife that was that long, I'm like, she's like, I'm like, they're not going to try. They're going to throw something for 5 or 6 yards and play it safe, because the last thing they want to do, they just got the turnover where it was a turnover. The last thing they want to do is turn it over now. If it was 3rd and short, they would be aggressive, but they weren't. The best way to say it is they weren't aggressive on 3rd and long in the fourth quarter. And as the time got shorter, the distance for 3rd down was even smaller for them to be aggressive. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, yeah.
Now, what I want to see moving forward is trying to keep ourselves from getting to those down and distances where we can't go for it. Let's clean things up so that we get the chance to make first down, sustain drives, give the defense a break, because that's part of what was happening with the defense there in that fourth quarter too. They were starting to get tired.
Yeah. Yep. They were starting to get tired. I mean, by the
again, that's
quarter,
not an excuse for. That's not a total excuse,
but not an excuse. Yeah.
It's
so.
Although it looked like the Steelers were doing a nice job there, especially towards those last couple possessions for the Ravens, really rotating some of their guys. The Ravens weren't in a straight up hurry up all the time, so they were able to rotate some of those linemen and linebackers, which helps. Yeah.
The more I think about it, when the Steelers have those negative plays on offense that set them back, and you're like, oh, that kills the drive. It really depends on at what
on
point
the down.
On the down. Because think about it, they got a 5-yard penalty on 3rd down that killed them. It was second down when that almost interception happened, which set up third and long. But earlier in the half, there was a penalty. There was the 10-yard holding penalty on Andrews Pete, I'm pretty sure is what it was. And they were 1st and 20, and guess what? They got the first down.
Yeah. Yeah, if they have if they have that longer distance and they can pick it up in chunks, they have a better chance than if they have to get that larger, that 10 plus all in one play.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you have to get that much all at once, it's a lot easier to get 12 yards on first down on 1st and 20 than it is to get 12 yards on third down when it's 3rd and 11.
Yep.
They're more willing to give you those yards.
Yep.
So, or be in a defense where not they give them to you, to be in a defense where you can take those yards. That's the better way to say it. So to me, the pass defense, my goodness, the Ravens only had 70 yards passing through the first 3 quarters of the game.
I know.
So, Zay Flowers had the big play early on. There was a couple other decent passes, but really they shut down. I mean, Mark Andrews had 1 catch for 9 yards, something like that. I mean, they really did cut down the passing game. And the running game, it's funny. Oh, man, they gave up 218 yards. No, that's not good. But because they cut down the passing game so much, they were able to win the game, giving up 200 and some yards.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say it was pretty darn concerning that the Steelers couldn't run the ball. Baltimore did a nice job defending the run. But why continue to run it and not get yards when you were having so much success being aggressive and pushing the ball down the field?
So I will tell you this one. So this will be fun. So I tell you that sometimes I catch the reels from some of the 93.7 shows, right?
Yes, I do occasionally as well.
I caught one, came off the morning shows or whatever, and they were talking about, man, the last time this happened in the NFL where somebody was outrushed by about that number of yards, I just plugged in about that number of yards, and it gave this game, and it was like back in like 89 or something like that. So I had to comment on their thing and say, hello, this just in 2020 or whatever, where the Steelers were outrushed by the Ravens by 217 yards and still won the game.
Yeah. There's some, that's happened a bunch against the Ravens.
I went back and pulled that box score and was like, it's like, you guys either need to, refine how you look for things or make sure you got it right before you go putting it out on the air.
Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of times, like Brian Davis, he takes some of these things in these games to memory. Me, I'm a research guy. I like to check into it and look at all and break it all down before I get into it as well. So to me, going forward, or anything else you want to say? Are we okay going forward?
No, go forward.
Okay. So going forward, it's all about, can the Steelers prepare for the Dolphins like they did for the Ravens? I know they're not as familiar. I love what Coach Tomlin said. He's like, normally on a Monday night game, you take the extra day of practice. You do Friday twice. You do it on Friday and Saturday to take the extra time to prepare because of playing and the attrition in that game. I mean, these teams aren't known as, the Steelers and Ravens aren't the typical Steelers and Ravens this year. But my goodness, that was still a physical Steelers and Ravens and concussions and beat up and everything. It was like it was like those 13-10 slobber knockers you used to get. I mean, not completely, but at least a little bit. So Coach Tom was like, we're going to rather than do 2 Fridays, we're doing 2. He didn't say it, but they're basically doing 2 Tuesdays. They're giving the players off an extra day to recover, and I think that's wise in this case. I think it was smart to do it based on how things were coming out of the game. So the Steelers need to have the same kind of preparation. And like Coach Thomas says, that gives me an extra day to even to familiarize myself even more with an opponent that we haven't played in a while.
Yep.
So the Steelers need to schematically prepare and be ready to handle the Dolphins. The players need to come out and have another good week. I'll say it. Some people are like, oh, man, Roman Wilson, what a waste to not even have him dressed. I mean, why not him over Scotty Miller? Personally, I would have Roman Wilson over Scotty Miller if you have anybody else that could return punts. Scotty Miller's the backup punt returner. That's about all he was for them in this game. But having an Adam Thielen and even an MVS, whether they use him again or not, if Aaron Rodgers knows those guys are going to be where they're supposed to be, that's huge. I think that was a lot with his confidence and him. I mean, he didn't have happy feet, nothing. He trusted the blockers. He trusted the receivers. He just felt so much more comfortable. And I think I honestly think it had to do with his other options out there that he knew that they were more on the same page with him.
I would probably agree with that. It just he just looked better.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, keep that up. You can't have the letdown game. This is set up to be either where last week was the beginning of the final quarter push, or it was that game, and then you get that letdown game. You can't get the letdown game. That bottom line. You can't let down schematically. So coaches, you can't fail your players in that regard. The players, you've got to get out there and you've got to practice like you did last week. And you've got to be ready. You can't warm up to it, as Coach Tomlin says. You can't warm up to it offensively or defensively to start the game. And you can't warm up to it offensively or defensively coming out of the half. You've got to stay on it. Okay? That's what I have to say. Anything else you want to say about this game coming up before we get into your prediction and everything?
Yeah, I hope the coaches and the players recognize that although the Steelers came off of a couple of bad games, had a much better game this past week, the Dolphins are actually a hot team right now.
Oh, they are. They've won 4 in a row.
Right. They've won 4 in a row. Are they going to? No, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they'd love nothing better than to come into Pittsburgh on a Monday night game and beat the Steelers. What would that do for their franchise?
And they're technically still alive, you know. So now, just so you know, here are their wins. I mean, they got crushed by the Ravens at home on a short week where they should have a huge advantage. Remember a few years ago where they crushed the Ravens at home when they weren't very good and the Ravens were really good and they beat them? That's when Brian Flores was still the coach in Miami. That happened. Nope, they got crushed by Baltimore. They had the mini bye. They come out of the mini bye and they get to go up against a familiar divisional opponent at home, even though it's the Buffalo Bills. And they took it to the Bills. But that's what you can do with divisional opponents because of familiarity. So they beat the Bills. That's a good quality win. They beat the Commanders in overtime at home. They had a bye. They just got by the Saints at home. They had 4 straight home games. Was part of it with a bye week in there. They had 5 weeks in there they didn't have to travel. Technically 6, 7. Oh, don't say it in that order. Technically almost 7 weeks from when they came back from the Falcons when they had to leave for the Jets. Because then they went to the Jets and beat the Jets, and that's just what that is. So it's not like they did beat the Bills, but it's not like they went out there and beat, I don't know.
Yeah, but Dave, we say this about the Steelers oftentimes. Yeah. String a couple wins together and suddenly your confidence builds.
Yeah. But the other thing I also look at is some of these teams that are hanging around, or even some of the teams that are towards the top, what are the 4 games they have left? Everybody's, you're that final quarter of the season. Okay. Dolphins are at Steelers, home against the Bengals, home against the Bucks, at New England. They've got a pretty rough stretch. Okay. For those of you that don't remember the Steelers, they are home against Miami. They are at Detroit. They're home against Cleveland. And then at Cleveland, sorry.
At Cleveland.
Home against Baltimore. I almost got that wrong. Okay. Baltimore's got it tough. I said it. I don't know that they're going to win another game until they play the Steelers. They can, but I don't know that they will. Because they're at Cincinnati, home against the Patriots, at Green Bay, and then at Pittsburgh. Even the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, the Broncos, look at what they got left. They're home against Green Bay, home against Jacksonville, at Kansas City, and home against the Chargers.
True. That could be 4 losses. Easy.
Yeah, but if they're the real deal,
yeah,
even 2-2 over that stretch, I think is good for them.
Well, let's just put it this way for the Steelers. I want to see the Steelers go out, take care of business this week, get a win. Keep the pressure on the Ravens.
Yeah. Because to me, you don't want last year's schedule where you have like the most brutal stretch you could possibly have to finish out the season. But you don't want an easy stretch at the very end either. I like a mix. I like that the Steelers have to face a very good Detroit Lions team that's now having to scrape to get into the postseason.
Yes.
To me, I don't want you to go in with your last 4 games being untested. You don't want to be pushed to the brink of where, like, man, you really shouldn't win any of these games. But I don't want you to be untested either. So it's going to be a good balance. So, all right. I'm sorry. I was kind of looking too much.
This is what I also hope to see, okay? Because the Steelers are going to know what the Ravens did this weekend before they play. But I don't want them to know. Don't think about if the Ravens won or if they lost or anything like that. Go out and take care of your own business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm looking up something here. Because somebody said, what were they saying? There's okay. Sorry, Steelers freak. I'm going to correct a little bit. It says Miami is number 1 in the NFL rushing. Maybe over the last few number of specific games. For the season, they're not. They're top 10. I think they're 8th, but they are not. They're not number 1 over the course of the season. And then you said, if there's no harm in that's trouble. Yeah. The number 1 rushing team, my goodness, the Steelers have already faced the top 3 rushing teams. The Bills, the Bears, the Ravens.
Yes.
And they still have to face, they don't face number 4, the Commanders. They still have to face number 5, the Lions. They face number 6, the Colts. They face number 7, the Jets. They're facing number 8, the Dolphins this week. They've already faced number 9, the Chargers.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Ready for my score? I'm ready.
I'm ready for your score now. Let's get to it.
Okay. Oh, I can't believe, but I'm actually going to do this, but I'm going to put a preface on it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And you're allowed to change this because of the game so far away.
But Steelers, I know, because that's part of my preface here. Steelers versus Dolphins. Derek Harmon plays, and the Steelers win 24-23.
Mm-hmm.
That's my prediction. Now, if it comes out later that Derek Harmon's not playing, then I might have to reconsider that. And
right.
I'm sorry, I know that I can't put this all on the fact it's Derek Harmon, but boy, those discrepancies.
It's
are
just something
so
when
huge.
it fits in. He makes everybody else around him better. He really does. He really does. All right, so I'm putting it up there for the
he
people
is
to
the
give us their
round
scores.
peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
That does exactly what the team needs. So
Yep. So we're almost a week away from this game. That's the thing. So I'm going to, people, you bring your scores up now. It's okay if you change your mind. There's a lot of things that could happen between now and when the game gets closer. Okay, Matt Cat 49, he's got 27-20 Steelers. We got Brian Brown with 31-13 Steelers. We got Steel Dog 83 as well. 27-17 Steelers. Mr. Woodside's got Steelers 23-21. Did I say Steel Dogs right? 27-17? Yeah, I did. Okay. Steelers Freaks just said say 8th is right. I trusted Google. Mistake. I think what you're talking about is they might be number 1 over a certain stretch. I think that's what you're looking at. So it's not like you're wrong. It's that it was there. It needs to be more defined. There we go, Steeler Freak. There's more to that definition of that there. Okay, Kathy Ford, 27-24 Steelers. The Pittsburgh Toddy. It's not just Pittsburgh Toddy. It's 30-20 Steelers. Matthew Bunk has 38-15 Steelers. Don't trust Tua in the cold. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty
really
cold.
cold.
Yeah,
really
love
cold.
it.
That's an important one.
Come on up, Miami.
It's cold. That might change stuff too. Okay. Outside Steeler fan says good guys 24-16, but we play even better than the score. Afton Ford says 24-21. That would be Steelers. Thomas JP says 21-17 Steelers. Sam, I almost said Saw M. It's Sam W. Man, woo, the dyslexia is strong with this one. Steelers 22, Fins 13. Valley Ford has Steelers 31-20. Someone said no tie for Thomas. I don't think that's the same Thomas. Kyle Thick has, or Thick, yeah, we'll just say it. Kyle has 27-16 Steelers. Here we go.
Here comes the good Pastor Pratt.
Okay, Tim Pratt. T.R. Pratt has 26-20. Said Miami won't win another cold weather game this decade. I'm going to tell you this. I don't know what I'm going to predict yet. But to me, I think if the Steelers win this game, they're going to win it decisively. And when I say decisively, I'm going to say by at least 7 points. But if the Steelers lose this game, or if it's close, I think they're more likely to lose the game because they allowed it to stay close. Does that make sense? That's how I feel today, Tuesday. That's probably going to change by Thursday, and it'll definitely change by Sunday. And who knows what I'll be thinking by Monday. Okay, and Steelers Freak says something that I agree with. It says, I would feel better if Miami was out of the playoff hunt. I agree.
Catch right above them.
Yep, I got it. Jamie Carlo has 31-28 Steelers. Because someone says, like my score. Outside Steeler fan said, one that's a little bit more decisive. So I think they're either going to come out and play well and win, or they're going to play bad and it's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, and by the time we get to the staff picks article, my score is probably going to change because because I forgot to even take that whole weather thing into account.
Yep.
And I've been watching, and here are to be very cold Sunday and Monday. I mean, they're talking Monday night here, temperatures down in the single digits. Yeah. How's Miami going to like playing at 12 degrees in Pittsburgh? That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah. But it's a week away.
That's right.
We know the weather forecast can change. It could go either direction. And I'm trying to think, the last time that I remember the Dolphins playing in Pittsburgh, it was also a Monday night game. It was also a color rush game because this is a color rush game. And that was the last game I went to with our dad. He told me he was done going to games, and he's like, you know what? I've never been to a Monday night game. I'm like, Dad, you want to go to a Monday night game? We're going. We went and saw Mason Rudolph in 2019. That was the whole cover zero debacle by the Dolphins where the Steelers scored a touchdown right before the half. They were down like 13 or 14 points and came back and won by 13, I think it was. And then to me, the other thing, I've seen Miami and Pittsburgh before, and that was in the playoffs. That was a really, really, really cold game when I thought Bud Dupree killed Matt Moore. So there's a lot of things going into this, and I know, like the Pittsburgh Toddy says, the Steelers are 14-1 on Monday Night Football at home since 2000. Is it 14? Did they lose one sometime that frustrated us? Because it used to be they hadn't lost since the 90s on Monday Night Football at home. If this is true, I'm going to love it. Jeff is going to go crazy. End zones are supposed to be yellow for the game, is what Thomas says. So there's that's going to be some interesting stuff. But if you want to get into numbers, the Steelers haven't won a game that wasn't at 1:00 all season.
Oh, wow. Don't say that.
So you can look at it either way. Which goes to show it's interesting to see those. It may make you feel better or worse, but it really doesn't ultimately depend on what's going on in this game. So that's what it is. All right. With that, we're going to continue to bring you everything. I don't know how the podcast is going to work at the beginning of next week, but that's next week's problem. This week will be pretty much through Saturday. Things will be the same. Sunday, obviously, it's not a game day. It might be a little bit different. We'll have to see what we're going to do there. Stay tuned. We'll announce everything to you all, I'm sure. And just make sure you check out SteelCreekNetwork.com. There's so much good stuff. The article that I did, the interaction with it afterwards was great. The stuff KT Smith's continuing to bring is fantastic. I'm looking forward to hearing another worthless 2 cents from Big Bro. So make sure you're checking that out. Rich, what do you have to say to close us out here tonight?
Oh, well, let's see. I can't say I'm going to be sitting on my couch on Sunday at 1 o'clock watching Steelers play when God intended football to be played. However, there is one other time that I do say God intended football to be played.
Can I tell you one thing?
What's that?
Pittsburgh Toddy said Washington in 2020 was the one loss. That was not Monday Night Football. It was on a Monday, but it wasn't Monday Night Football.
It wasn't Monday Night Football.
It was rescheduled in the late afternoon, and it wasn't a Monday night broadcast. It was CBS
that was a COVID game.
It was a weird game. So technically, on games on Monday, you're right. If you're talking Monday Night Football, it's a different story. That's the confusion. There, we got it cleared up. Thank you, Pittsburgh Toddy.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Back to it, Rich.
So I was saying, there is one other time God intended football to be played, and that is Monday night. Okay? Mm-hmm. To me, there are 2 times for football. 1 o'clock on Sunday, Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, going to be watching the Steelers. It's great. It's kind of neat. I get a whole full weekend and still get Steelers football. That's what, So I just looked up weather for Pittsburgh on Monday. The high during the day on Monday is to be 20 degrees as the high. That's going to be chilly come Monday Night Football.
Yes, it will be.
I love, believe it or not, I really like the cold. Actually, was talking in particular with my wife. We prefer to go to cold games than warm games. The Steelers are going to be ready to play in the cold. They typically are. I'm going to be ready to be sitting on my couch Monday night watching the Steelers, hopefully putting it to the Miami Dolphins and extending some their stuff over their issues or their lead over Baltimore. So, in the meantime, I hope everybody will be joining me watching that game and potentially joining me watching the post game. It will be a late night for me Monday night, just like you, Dave. But you know what? Can't wait.
You gotta just chill out, man.
Can't wait.